All right, so we're going to start in the Western Division here. We're going to go team by team, and what we're going to do, I'll just throw out the team, Ron, and talk about a couple of changes, a few of the player movements, and then we'll discuss it.
Okay.
First off, the San Jose Stealth, Anthony Cosmo. I mean, he, if not Colin Doyle, he was probably the MVP of that team last year. Cosmo is now gone to Boston.
Yep.
Matt Royk now the starting goalie there. They do still have Colin Doyle. They do still have Jeff Zawicki. They do still have Frank Resetarits. Luke Wiles leaves to go to Toronto. What do you see happening there?
Well, you know, Colin Doyle is a great player. He's proven that. There was a lot of controversy when he got let go from Toronto, and the reasons why, I don't know, I've never heard of them other than the fact that he was good trade bait. Luke Wiles is a big loss. Anthony Cosmo is a huge loss. But I still like the San Jose Stealth in the West. I think it'll be between them and Colorado for the Western Division Championship. They're just a little bit too deep. They got too many good guys, like guys that have been around for a number of years.
Yeah, and I agree they're good. I don't know though that Royk is going to be able to fill the shoes of Anthony Cosmo. That to me is the big concern for San Jose.
Yeah, once again, hey, anybody who's out in San Jose watching, get out and support your team. Those are one of the teams with really classy all-star players that trot out on the floor in front of 4,200 people.
Yeah.
Come on, San Jose.
Colorado Mammoth, you have to say last year was a big letdown for them. They had a very solid year, going 9-7, tied with the division lead. Going into the playoffs, there were still the high expectations. You know, they've still got Carey, they've still got Langtree, Gavin Prout, I mean, one of the MVPs of the league, G Nash and net. They didn't really lose much, if anything at all, and they've added a couple of youngsters, Andrew Potter from St. Catharines here, and Matt Danowski from Duke University. You know, it's one of those teams where they don't ever seem to look like they lose anything, but last year had to have been a big downer for them.
You know, they always put me in mind of America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Fantastic on paper, huge fan base. You know, you couldn't ask for better. Right now, I believe they're the premier franchise attendance-wise.
16,000, 17,000 a night.
Yeah, in the NLL, they got great players, but there always just seems to be that one little thing missing, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's too many stars on the team, not hungry enough. But I look for them to come out of the West this year. Gavin Proust's too good a player, too classy a guy. And the other people you mentioned, and with the solid fan base, when you got your crowd behind you, you know, I think you got it made. Calgary
Roughnecks. Josh Sanderson now is going to have a full year down there playing for Troy Cordingley, another one of our favorite guys. Tracy Koleski, he had the concussion last year. He appears to be all fine now with that out of the way. Again, a goaltending change here. Steve Dietrich has left, and you've got Patty Campbell now, the starter. Very much a fan favorite and a good guy, Pat Campbell. Is he going to be able to fill the shoes there? What do you see happening in Calgary?
Another place with a great fan base, but I have gained a great deal of respect for Troy Cordingley as a coach. Once Troy kind of put all the shouting thing behind him, and he became more. You know, I think the NLL taught him a lot about being a coach, how to act classy in front of the cameras, in front of the fans and stuff like that. That guy is a great motivator. Yeah. He's motivated the Brampton Excelsiors to a Mann Cup, and I think he can do a really good job once again with his right arm guy, Josh Sanderson, as the best setup guy in lacrosse at the present moment. That's what everybody says, and I think Josh has got something to prove to everybody back east because he was not happy with that trade from Toronto.
Are you saying Troy doesn't shout anymore?
Not as much as he used to. Like, I think, you know, they always tell you when you're shouting, you're putting your energies out in the wrong spot, so he's channeling his energies in a more positive direction for that franchise. Once again, another place that draws well. You know, and you draw well, you know, they got the fans behind them, they're going to do fine. You know, maybe I'm jumping ahead here, but I see Colorado and Calgary fighting it out for the West.
Yeah, and I will say Troy's always taken the time for us here at Lacrosse Inside the Game. Great guy, really appreciate everything that he does to help us out, but he does still shout.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. Portland. This is the one team, and Derek Keenan, a good friend of mine, I don't know what's going to happen there this year. You can't lose a guy like Dan Dawson and not have that affect your team. Retirement of Dallas Eliuk. Matt Disher is now the starter. A good buddy of ours, Joel Weber, now the backup in Portland. You know, they still got Brody Merrill, they got Peter Jacobs, they got the Morgans. But how do you replace Dan Dawson?
You've replaced Dan Dawson with really hungry rookies. Now, we're going back to Joel Weber. You know, everybody's going to say, yeah, Messer, you're wearing a little Green Gale thing on your shoulder here. But honest to goodness, if you've never seen this young man play goal, I have never seen a more athletic goaltender than Joel Weber. This is a guy that can throw the ball almost a length to the floor on a dime. He stole the 2004 Junior B Founders Cup for the Green Gaels with his game. He played out west last year, got a little different scene. He had a cup of coffee in the National Lacrosse League last year, and now this year, I think if they give him a chance to play, that could make a little bit of a difference. He could steal some games for the Lumberjacks.
Yeah, and again, very great guy. If you ever see Joel Weber without a smile on his face and not wanting to talk lacrosse, something's wrong.
Yeah,
you know, very good guy. But I hope Portland does well. I just don't know. Dan Dawson not there.
Man, that's a big pair of shoes
But
to fill.
you know what? Having said that, they went 6-10 last year, and they played in the final against Buffalo. So
Yeah.
what do I know? Edmonton. They have actually, you know, they've got Steve Dietrich now in Edmonton. They've still got Jimmy Quinlan. They've picked up a little bit of scoring though in Andy Secor from Minnesota, Mike Hominick, Dan Teets down there now. A little bit of, I guess, underachieving, but when Bob Hamley went there last year, he really turned things around. And I guess, you know, they didn't win a ton of games last year, you know, going 4-12, but after Hamley went there, it seemed to rejuvenate the team, and they had a whole new, different perspective, I guess, on the game.
Well, Mr. Hamley's a pretty classy guy. You know, he's been around the game for a long time. It was a shame what happened to them in Arizona, because when Arizona was hot, they were a really great, really good team. If anybody can motivate the people in Edmonton, it's Mr. Hamley. Once again, another solid franchise. From what I understand, they put a great show on, and that feeds your guys on the bench. They're 1 or 2 players away from giving Calgary headaches.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to be able to do it this year.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I'd love to be at an Edmonton-Calgary game. You know, you always talk about the hockey. I just imagine this must be just as fun to go watch a lacrosse game.
Definitely.
And the last, certainly but not least, the new import into the Western Division, the Minnesota Swarm. 17 returning players. You know, goaltending is a big thing in this league. Nick Patterson's back. He was a really impressive goalie for me last year watching him play. They've got all their players back. Craig Point now is a year into the league. He's a second-year player. Cousins and Culp and you know, Pollock. They got all the guys back.
They're good. Without a doubt, they're a good club. It all depends if they can hold it together for a full season. Last season, they were going along great. They were in first place for the longest time, and then I don't know what happened. I don't think there was a result of injuries or whatever. They just didn't hold it together for the last 6 or 7 games of the season, dropped low in the standings, didn't make it through the playoffs, and that was the end of their year. They have got to try and put together 60 minutes every week. Tough team. Ryan Cousins is a tough guy. The other players you mentioned there, Jacobs, these are all really tough players from the Ontario Great Point, excuse me, from the Ontario Lacrosse Association, and know what it's like to be in a war for a lacrosse game. If they can keep it together, I definitely think that there is a chance that they could be not the Cinderella team, but the spoiler in the West this year.
Okay, so that wraps up the Western Division. We'll take a quick break here, and then we'll get back into the East.